Do you guys groan?
You know what? I actually
wait. Hold on. Are we middle aged? What is middle aged?
I think
What is
middle age. I feel like
what
middle
is
age is 40s.
Middle age.
Unfortunately,
Honestly,
we're
dude, I
getting
feel
close.
like when I was like
Yeah, middle
18 and I met someone who was 35, I'd be like, ooh, middle age.
I mean, is middle age based on life expectancy?
Middle age is the age period of a human's life beyond young adulthood, but before the onset of old age. I think
We're middle-aged.
No, but hold on.
I think it's 40s.
Hold on. Yep. Commonly, the term is used to denote the age range from 40 to 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not middle-aged yet.
I'm not even fucking close to middle age, dude. I still got like the better part of a decade to go.
We're pre-middle-aged.
I'm almost there.
Pre-middle age.
So there's this New York Times article that was talking about what's behind the middle-aged groan.
I do have a middle age groan.
And I was just going to say, I feel like maybe I'm middle-aged because I've got the groan.
That's the true.
You know what?
That's the true qualifier.
Do you know
actually-
what we're talking about, Brian?
I do, but I actually learned about something that I have that's very similar, but not that, a couple days ago, which is called the ADHD sigh,
Oh, interesting.
which is different than the middle-aged groan.
I have an exercise.
You also have the
induced-
wet sneeze.
You do.
Does that have anything to do with your
You
fucking
do-
ADHD?
You have such a wet
No,
sneeze.
that's-
the incredibly wet sneeze that you have?
I think that's a good immune system.
Dude,
Yeah, blasts all the shit out. It collects it very well.
you're
and
making
then-
everybody else's immune system around
no,
you
I think
not
you're wrong
good.
because I think the fact that you make so much of it and you're not getting rid of it inside your body, because that's like you kind of have like you're like halfway to CF, kind of. You know, that's how much mucus you make.
I feel like I'm so far from CF.
It's crazy.
You make a lot of mucus.
Yeah, maybe.
I have
crazy.
an exercise induced groan. You know when like your legs are sore often, so every time I get up, I kind of.
I have that getting up groan thing. I only so this is well actually okay. Britt, do you have a groan?
No.
You don't have a middle-aged groan at all?
I bet
No.
you do if you paid attention. I saw a meme the other day that said something about a middle-aged groan, and then I realized that I actually groan every time I get up and sit down.
What does your groan sound like? Oh yeah, I hear that. Yeah, yeah.
It did sound like a middle-aged groan. I don't have that.
If you had a middle-aged groan, what do you think? Like, at what point would it happen? And what would it sound like?
If I'm sitting down, it's like this.
Jeez, okay, that sounded like laborious.
Mine would be like this. Like,
Be real. Yeah, but I've heard you do that.
yeah, but that was in different activities. That was.
I was
like,
gonna say it kind of sounds like you're coming.
Mine sounds like mine's usually when I'm
tra-la-la.
mine's usually when I'm getting up and it sounds like
Jared, I was sitting on the couch earlier, and it sounded like Jared was watching porn for like 10 minutes, and I was like, "What are you watching?"
I am.
He was just
really,
going
it was
through
just that sound.
He was just searching the
It
soundboard.
does make me really happy to know that you're curating the sounds a little bit
Yeah.
better, though.
but
For
actually,
Nikki and I's sake.
but actually for real though, my middle-aged groan, and I've only noticed this since I've been getting fat with the trikafta. And it's specifically when I go
that
to put
might be a little bit of a. I mean, you're getting
Dude,
bigger.
I'll show you my haunches after this. Dude, it's crazy. My skin, the density of my skin has changed. I can grab these haunches. We'll do it after. I'll show you after.
Haunch
But
is
anyway,
a funny word.
I know. When I go to put my socks on, I can't really get my leg up high enough because my fucking gunt is like my gunt is pushing against my thigh.
I'm glad I have younger friends too, because you guys are making me feel old.
Dude, I'm getting old. So anyway, what is the middle-aged groan? I think you get it. Experts weigh in on the sounds we make when we bend over, stand up, or sit down. Again, this is from the New York Times. So the author here said, when my daughter was a toddler, she often imitated the long groan I made when I bent down. It was both funny and mortifying. Judging by the large number of videos of toddlers doing this on the internet, I was not alone. Like many other people, I have a playlist of activity-specific grunts and gasps. When I'm heaving myself out of a chair, I sound like Rafael Nadal returning a volley.
Oh,
When reaching for something, I release a wheezy oof. Why does this happen? It's a sign. Is it a sign of getting older? I couldn't find any research on what I've termed the middle-aged groan, but every expert I consulted knew instantly what I was talking about. So this woman, Mariel Alpatu, a research assistant professor of physical therapy at the University of Florida, and a faculty member in the Pain Research and Intervention Center of Excellence, told her that when she bends over to pick things up, quote, I will sort of, she said, I will sort of groan and say, oh, my mother, in my parents' native language, which is
Oh, mi madre.
I
figured she was
Malayalam, an Indian dialect. So she goes, oh, my mother.
That is
really,
really
I'm going to
funny.
start saying that when I go to put my socks on. Oh, my mother. It's either oh, my mother or
Fuck.
As people get older, Dr. Alapatu explained, just bending over to pick things off the floor might require a bit more exertion, and we tend to brace ourselves. And exhaling, she said, could be contributing to that grunt or whatever sound you make. So like you're like almost like physically bracing yourself with the exhale.
I get
But
it.
it's so interesting that it's just like it's innate. We just do it.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
But it also, like, I get
No
it.
one's teaching us.
That
to
makes
do
sense. Like, I understand. I mean, I've seen a lot. At this yoga studio, it seems like a lot of like mid 40s, I would say more like 50-ish plus year old guys. They've got like a real tough time lacing up their shoes.
Yeah,
Like
dude,
that's a big,
man,
that's
I'm
a big
feeling
problem.
that too because my gunt is preventing that.
It's a big problem. Whether it's whether it's weight or whether it's flexibility or whatever.
I'll show you.
It's like there seems to be, and there's a lot of dude. That is wow.
You're kind of blown up a little
You
bit.
have grown. Wow,
Here's the crazy part.
dude. From the side,
I can
it's-
rest my hand on my belly.
No, you're not. Are you pushing out?
No,
Yeah, you are.
I swear on my fucking mother, on my mother. I'm not.
Oh my mother.
Pushing it, I actually can't.
You do still have like a 6-pack though in there.
Yeah, it is in there. Yeah, I mean, well, it's developed over such a long. You coughed for so many years.
These are the haunches I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, I see them. Yeah, they're visible, especially on camera.
I think you still look good.
You still got your little. You got your thigh lines though, right? You still got those. You know those little sex lines.
Well, yeah, but now those lines are basically just going, hey.
They're just framing.
Here's
gut.
where you're. This is the area where you're no longer going to be able to see your dick soon.
Right. It's just a reminder.
That's what that is.
My mom calls them dick dudes.
That's right.
We talked about this.
That's right. So I understand. Like I get
That was very
exertion.
vulnerable for me to do that. By the way,
And I appreciate your
that.
vulnerability.
thank you.
I understand the exertion that comes with certain menial, tasks as we get older. But for me, at 32, in good shape, I bending down to do something with my shoe or sitting down, like it's not taking any more effort. But I do grunt.
Yeah.
The grunt is there nonetheless.
So you think the grunt is not? You don't think there's a correlation between like?
I can see how there is a
like-
correlation for some people, but for others, it's just for me. I can't see it being anything more. I feel like it has to be just some type of like adaptation to I don't know, seeing other people do it, or I don't know.
Or maybe it's like a learned skill, like you said, Jer. Like it's partly the exhale might be like bracing, and like maybe it's just a more effective way to
to
do it.
Here, how about this theory? You know how when somebody does something really stupid, or like there's a pop culture, I don't know, thing that people do, or a thing that they say that you think is really dumb, so you make fun of it and you use it in a sentence to make fun of it.
Like when we started saying dude and bro.
Exactly. And then lo and behold, like 3 or 4 months down the line,
All we're saying is dude and
it
bro.
is fully into your vocabulary and you use it in every sentence. And it started as a joke.
I mean, lit,
Right.
fire,
Totally.
you know?
Bussin'.
Bussin' actually has like kind of made a way. Like the other day I was like, oh, that's pretty bussin'. And I went, ah, fuck.
Exactly.
You said no kissing.
It's like when we make fun of, if you make fun of like a really stereotypical Nova Scotian who goes, it's like you
inhalation,
you make,
affirmation.
You make fun
Dude,
of it.
Kira does that for real, not ironically.
Not ironically. But if
Yeah,
you
for
do it
real.
ironically long enough, then you do it actually.
Yeah, I wonder if she started doing it ironically.
So maybe that's where the grunt comes
Yeah.
from. You're making fun of somebody or you're making fun of it in general, and then
Yeah. Well, there were no studies. There were no actual studies done on this, like from a standing, like bending and standing related thing. But, and you guys will be aware of this, but there has been some specific research on grunting in athletic situations.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've got the bass rootin', the
Dude, anybody who's listening out there, please Google.
I wish I prepped it.
Please Google Bas Rutten, BASRUTTEN, combat instructional videos. You will not be disappointed.
It is. It really is. Fucking
Self-defense. It's Bas Rutten self-defense.
A few tips for street fighting. First of all, don't street fight. Once it's absolutely impossible to stop that fight, you better be the person who's going to finish it. While you're talking, boom, 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 there's the head, but that's the distraction. Grab the neck, knee in the groin, knee to the face. It was a really bad person to grab a chair and then just bing, boom, bing. This situation, worst situation there is. As soon as he comes, it's like boom in the face. There you got the kick to the groin, grab the head, and a few knees in the face. Right now, boing. And if he's not a good guy, one more extra.
A dang and the dang and the
dang. Okay, so they actually didn't say that in here. They said there's one small study of college tennis players found that their serves were more powerful when they were allowed to grunt. Another among gym goers suggested that grunting might be a learned behavior. And there has been more research on grunting as a sports tactic used to distract opponents or garner attention.
Dude, Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah.
Well aware.
Yeah.
Well aware.
The symphony of sounds we make might have a variety of causes. Quote, I think there's a physical component, a mental component, a voluntary component, and an involuntary component, said Tracy E.K. Davis, an associate professor specializing in health promotion and aging at Rutgers University. The pain and stiffness that often comes with age, for example, can prompt huffing noises, Dr. Davis said, and prolonged sitting may contribute to the sounds, said Lindsay DeStefano, head of the Department of Kinesiology at the University of Connecticut. If you sit for when you sit for long periods of time, the muscles in your hips tighten, which makes standing a little more difficult. Which, like, I can see that if you like. I've felt that a number of times, like driving from here to Montreal.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like, because I don't stop really unless I have to get gas, and so I'll be driving like 3-4 hours, and then I'll get up and I'll be like, oh Jesus Christ!
But I don't think they're talking about road trip sitting. I think they're talking about
well, they're talking these guys are talking about old fucks getting up from sitting for
but
5 minutes.
But also, guys like desk jobs,
and then they get up and it's
think about how many people. Think about how many people sit at a desk for 8 hours a day, and maybe go on a lunch break, maybe a short break. But like it's, and also I know for me, and this kind of ties into the ADHD psi. When I'm in like a hyper focus, like if I start working on something at like,
what's the psi? Give us the psi.
I'll show you in a sec. But when I start working on something at like 8 o'clock at night, and then all of a sudden the next thing I realize it's 5 a.m. and I haven't drank water, I haven't gone to the bathroom, I haven't gotten up at all, and I get up.
I haven't done a single thing to take care of myself,
dude. Totally,
dude.
Oh
my god,
it's really hard to
I haven't
explain
blinked for 17 hours.
You know what's funny?
You need an AI home system that just monitors.
Doesn't work,
you.
dude. Nothing works.
Nothing works. I'm fucked.
We're all fucked. But it's funny because like listening to this, if you don't have ADHD, you're like, that sounds so dumb. If you have it, you're like, I totally understand. But when you finish doing this, one, the guilt of
when you finish, you sigh.
Okay, so yeah, but do you know why you sigh?
It's a sigh of like, fuck.
Well, yeah, I think there's part of that, but it's also because
I wasn't trying to be funny there. I actually was guessing that.
It's partly that, but it's also because you breathe incredibly shallowly the entire time. You're like,
oh my god, dude!
Jesus Christ, you sound
and like
psycho.
everything's like so tight in your chest because you're just like so in the zone. Your body's forgetting to do like everything important to take care of itself, and then you snap out of it, and you're just like.
I mean, you do wear a Whoop, so you do kind of have an alarm system on that's basically being like, yo, dude,
no,
what the
it doesn't
fuck?
work like that. The Whoop only reminds me in the morning the next day how badly I took care of myself the day before, which is hopefully some sort of motivation to do better that day.
Right, but then you just forget about that.
Yeah, it comes and goes. I feel like I'm selling that I'm making it sound like it's like I'm doing a really poor job at taking care of myself, but I think it's like more of like a medium.
Okay.
Like I do fine.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. I do notice sometimes, Bri, that you do this thing. I mean, Taylor, you were just saying it today. You were like, fuck, I really got to piss. And I was like, you can do that. Like, you can just go do it. But Bri, the thing that you do, which is really funny, is you'll be like,
oh, I did the dance.
You'll just do this. You don't say anything. You just do this.
I do have a pee dance.
And I'm
for
like,
sure.
I'm like, dude, I'm looking at you going like,
Guys,
you are 8. Like,
I gotta pee. I gotta pee right now.
Are you actually going to pee? All right. Well, then I'm going to move on to the next story. And this next one's pretty fucking cool. It's one of those like stories that makes me like feel like excited about the future. And just to set the mood, some royalty-free Beethoven music.
Are we going to talk about AI?
No, we're talking about Beethoven.
Oh, fuck.
And do you know how Beethoven died?
No, I don't actually.
Well, he died a long time ago, and he was sick. Everyone knows that he was sick. I guess that's what historians know. He was sick. We don't know what he was sick from. Well, DNA from his hair has offered us some clues.
How did they get his hair?
You like how moody this gets?
Yeah,
like when you got
moody.
music and you just talk through it.
But I'm genuinely curious. How do we get his hair?
Oh, I don't know. Probably gravediggers. Nearly 200 years after Ludwig van Beethoven, his death, researchers pulled DNA from strands of his hair. So like researchers were just like, dig the bitch up. We need that fucker's hair.
Because we're all still confused about how he died. So
yeah,
let's find out.
So they were searching for clues about the health problems and hearing loss that plagued him. Because he was the deaf guy, right?
Yeah.
He was the guy making this shit, but he couldn't hear a fucking thing. That is pretty amazing,
yeah.
right? So he's also you might know him from one of these ones, right?
I do. I am familiar with Beethoven.
Yeah. So anyway, he was sick. He had some health problems. He couldn't hear shit.
The dog?
No, Beethoven, the composer.
Oh.
So they weren't able to crack the case of the German composer's deafness or severe stomach ailments, but they did find a genetic risk for liver disease, plus a liver-damaging hepatitis B infection in the last months of his life.
Mm.
These factors, along with his chronic drinking, were probably enough to cause the liver failure that is widely believed to have killed him, according to a study published Wednesday in the journal Current Biology.
Not so current.
Sounds like this. Yeah, sounds like it should be the Uncurrent Biology. is the journal this should have been in. This Sunday marks the 196th anniversary of Beethoven's death in Vienna. He died on March 26th, 1827, at the age of 56. The composer himself wrote that he wanted doctors to study his health problems after he died. He did not specifically say, I want you to wait 200 years before you start.
Wait, why?
Yet we find ourselves here.
That seems like a really unique request.
Especially
to encourage people to study.
Especially in the 1800s. Because like that was, I mean, I maybe not so much the 1800s, but like in the medieval days, if like doctors and stuff were like looking at your body post-mortem, they would say it was actually part of like executions. They would go, we're gonna execute you by hanging, and then we're gonna anatomize you.
I would say
you're going to be anatomized, and that was like oh fuck, I'm not going to go to heaven because I'm going to get anatomized.
Right.
So like religiously, there was some weird stuff about
even if you wanted the doctors to do it, it seems like an interesting thing to declare.
Well,
you know, like the fact that we can look back and go, yeah, he specifically said that he wanted.
Yeah,
he was probably a narcissistic genius.
Yeah,
he probably thought there was something very.
I don't think you can say that. He was deaf.
Well, he was a prodigy.
Yeah,
and so he probably knew that he was a prodigy and thought, I should be studied because I'm special.
You should never call a deaf person narcissist.
Right. Sorry, deaf community.
Yep.
I mean, fuck.
Yeah.
They didn't.
You're gonna dig a hole. You're gonna dig a hole. You're digging.
Is this on YouTube?
This is.
Is there subtitles?
Okay. Okay, so with Beethoven in particular, it is the case that illnesses sometimes very much limited his creative work. Said author Axel Schmidt.
That was funny, right, Brian?
Sick
That
name.
was really funny.
a geneticist at University Hospital Bonn in Germany. And for physicians, it has always been a mystery what was really behind it. So his illnesses were like kind of fucking up his creative work. And no one knew why, what the illness was. Since his death, scientists have long tried to piece together Beethoven's medical history and have offered a variety of possible explanations for his many maladies. Dude, isn't it so interesting that like this fucker's been dead for 200 years and we're still just like, let's get to the bottom of that guy. You know, like we're still just like thinking about his health and thinking about like, listening to his sick fuck jams that slap. Like, come on, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. This shit.
Man, this conversation right now would really be feeding his ego, eh? If he was like still alive listening to this,
yeah,
he'd be stoked.
Are you guys classical music fans? Like, do you listen to classical music?
Not at all, actually.
No,
I frequently listen to About Time.
This is making me sad
on CBC Radio.
This is making me really fucking sad.
You guys know how.
I mean, that's probably the point.
You guys know how I'm kind of like a kiss ass, especially like in school. I would suck up to the teachers to try to get good marks. In music class in grade 3, I asked my mom to take me to the mall to buy a CD when CDs first came out, and I got her to buy me a 2-disc cassette or a CD that was classical music greatest hits. And I brought it into class and was like, I just love these tracks. Yeah. Like, I was like, do you mind if would you play these for the class so I could share my passion for classical music with the rest of the class? And the teacher was like, amazing. And then I got like student of the week for my interest in music.
Wow, really? Your teacher didn't see through that bullshit?
No, she didn't. It's
funny. He still does that shit
I'm a
today.
good actor.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
Bad actor
when
too.
my nephews lie to me, like narcissistic, like do something to like clearly show that they know something, it's like the most obvious thing in the world.
And you know what? It probably was.
And Taylor hits them when they do that. He goes,
yeah.
It probably was, but you know what? She also appreciated because you know what? To be fair, most people didn't really care about music class anyway, and so the fact that I cared enough to like even go and be that shitty kid about it,
right?
Maybe she was like, all right.
I'll reward this.
Coming back to this, and this is actually interesting, Brian. It wasn't grave robbers.
I feel really bad that I did that.
Now with the advances of ancient DNA technology, researchers have been able to pull genetic clues from locks of Beethoven's hair that had been snipped off and preserved as keepsakes. So like it was like on someone's like keychain, like a fucking lucky rabbit's foot, but it was a bunch of Beethoven hair, and they use that. They focused on 5 locks that are, quote, almost certainly authentic.
Yeah, guys, I want to see
coming from the same European male, according to the study. They also looked at 3 other historical locks, but weren't able to confirm those were actually Beethoven's. This sounds sus.
I know, right?
And there's a bunch more to it, but like, I don't even know if I want to keep going on this. Like, where the fuck are you getting the hair? Where are you getting the hair? Where are you getting the hair where you have to say almost certainly authentic?
Yeah.
Almost kind of certainly maybe authentic.
I mean, like, unless you took it from his grave.
There's a book called Beethoven's Hair, and it's about
all the people that have his hair?
An extraordinary historical odyssey and a scientific mystery solved. It's all about his hair. So people loved his hair.
Did he have sick hair?
Dude, people love Beethoven.
How sick was his hair?
I don't know. Let's check it out.
I don't know.
There wouldn't be photos of him, right? No, there'd just be paintings.
There wouldn't be photos of Beethoven?
No, there'd be paintings.
Right.
Guys.
Yeah, I agree.
This is me, literally. This is me right now.
Beethoven 1999 film.
Yawning. Big yawns.
Yeah, only paintings. He did have pretty sick hair.
Was it wild?
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Oh, dude, fuck yeah, that's sick hair.
Didn't you see him in the movies? He
yeah.
had sick hair in the movies.
That was a 1992 film about a Saint Bernard, and to my surprise, it got 29% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Dude, guys, check this out. In 1827, on his deathbed, Ludwig von Beethoven was visited by his friend, the composer Johann Nepomuk Hummel. In tow was Hummel's talented 15-year-old pupil, Ferdinand Hiller, who was not surprisingly thrilled to be presented to the musical genius. On a subsequent visit some days later, the two found the great man dead. The awestruck Hiller asked and received permission from Hummel
to shave
clip
his
a
head
lock
right there.
of the deceased's hair, a common practice in those days.
Oh yeah,
So he took a lock of his
There you
hair.
go. Yeah. Well, that reminds
And then
me.
he sold it on eBay. Crazy.
That reminds me of this.
Oh my God.
Wait, why is this a...
Wait, what's with the fap?
Oh,
We're
I mean, that was clapping. Sorry,
We're
that was a round of
We're
applause.
going to talk about sex, but in particular, painful sex, and in particular, painful sex for people who have endometriosis. So there's a sexual wellness company called OhNut, and Emily Sauer is the founder of it, and she was on a website basically talking about like her best tips for elevating sexual pleasure for people who experience endometriosis. So I don't know if we've talked about endo a few times, but I don't think we ever got into the specific, like the nitty gritty of sex with endo. But apparently with endometriosis, people who are suffering from it, deep penetration is an issue. Deep penetration is one of the things that causes the painful sex for them. So if you're not familiar, endometriosis is the growth of endometrium or lining of the uterus outside of the uterus, and it can be extremely painful. And then when you add sex into the equation, suddenly pleasure doesn't feel so good. Painful sex is not just common for people with endo, but actually 75% of vulva owners experience pain during sex at some point in their life. So it's actually quite common for pain during sex, but I think endometriosis is one of those things that like almost guarantees it. And you know, we've talked about this a number of times, but like oftentimes when women are experiencing pain during sex, they tend to get like sort of gaslit by their doctors. I mean, we've heard some wild shit from guests, like, you know, like
just keep going.
Maybe he's too big, you know, like shit like that, where you're just like, oh, man, I don't know if that's the.
Can you imagine a doctor really saying that?
Dude, doctors say that shit.
I know
actually,
that.
it's fucking crazy.
I know, but can you just imagine that coming out of a human being's mouth? Like how...
Dude, do you know how
dumb that
hard
is?
Kira would laugh if the doctor said that to her? Maybe he's too big. She'd go, no.
He's really not.
He's really not. Guys, that was really vulnerable for me to say that.
And we appreciate your vulnerability.
Okay, thank you. So anyway, Sauer, this woman, she was like, you know what? I'm going to create a fucking tool to help people with endo have less painful sex. And so she created the OhNut ring. Look at this thing. So what we're looking at here for people who are just listening is we are looking at several, they look like sort of silicone rings. Now, if you look at the bottom one, see the sort of like Oculus Rift battery pack type thing on the top of it. So that's one singular ring, and that thing on the top is like a motor, and that one ring vibrates. The other rings are like added rings that you can add to it to basically cushion the
like
depth.
Basically, like they're like door stoppers.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, exactly.
Wait,
like,
hold on.
stop
But
how far
what's the
you
top
can go.
and what's the bottom?
So there is the top would be the one at the bottom. So the one with the motor attached, that would sit at the base, the bottom, like the furthest end of your dick. And then everything else that you add on would go up your dick towards the head of the penis. So like the bulbous part of that dildo,
yeah.
you could think of that as like the head of the dick.
I feel like they should have used a better dildo. A more
Are you sure? I feel like I would
that's why it's that's why
No,
it's
100%.
confusing.
So this would be like, this dildo would be used for like G-spot penetration,
'Cause I
like
feel like
G-spot
there's
stimulation.
There's
So
not
that
very many dicks that
that
look
top,
that way.
the top of the dildo, that's for like the G-spot. That's what you're inserting in, and then at the bottom of the palm, that's where that's where you'd be holding the dildo. Now these are made for dildos, but they're also made for the pee-pee, for the dick.
You got any pictures of that?
I don't.
Good, because we couldn't put that on YouTube. I
We
was just
couldn't.
curious.
So Dr. Pelvic health physical therapist Dr. Ashley Rollins says endometriosis is complicated, and OhNut is always a go-to in these situations. The device is donut shaped and acts as a buffer that moderates penetration depth. Because people with endo often suffer from that deep pelvic pain, OhNut is a great solution for pain-free penetrative sex. To use OhNut, Sarah recommends adding rings to make penetration more shallow, which is we saw there. There was like several rings, and then subtracting rings for deeper pleasure, but not too deep. And then the vibrating rings are another great option. So like the thing at the, again, like I said, there's like that motor at the base that vibrates, which to be honest with you, this looks awesome.
I guess it depends on.
Sure.
I guess it depends on how.
Great.
But I guess it depends on like how you get off, because unfortunately, there are people that are gonna go, I have endo, like deep penetration sucks, like just not even an option. But also, maybe previous to having endo, that was maybe the way that they got off. Because that's the thing for a lot of people, that it's like that's the way that they. But I
mean, the way that you get off is, I mean, it's not like it's locked in. Like that's the only way that you can find pleasure. So
no,
like,
I understand, but I mean, but there are people that can only do that. Like they don't get an orgasm from other ways.
Right. But so what I'm saying is that they can. It's just a matter of
like being forcing yourself to just like find a new path,
finding new ways to like develop that pleasure and to like get the pleasure like the sensitive areas going and lubricated and juiced up so that you're ready to like just make a big old, so while you're in the middle of doing the thing, and then like it's like you go, I used to have to be deep, but now you can hear it's just like that's just the sound of the OhNut. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know,
I know where everybody stopped listening to this podcast.
Yeah, because Taylor seems to think that only women come when it's deep.
No, I said that some people only come when it's deep.
I feel like that sounds crazy to me. I've never heard that some people only can only come from deep penetration.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
I don't know. I disagree, but I'm sure that's great for some people. But also, like, I think anyone who goes, there's only one way I can come and one way only, haven't properly like investigated all the different ways.
Partner.
Yeah, or they're just too bored to like look for other ways.
No, I think it would be them, not the partner.
Well, that's it. But yeah, and then but that's the other thing is like Taylor. That's what Taylor says. Taylor goes, look, I can only come if it's super deep, and you got endo, so that's that sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. So
that's what I was.
If you want, take this piece of wood, bite down on this. All right, let's move on to. Do you guys get this reference?
Now this is the plan. Get your ass to Mars.
Do you get that reference? So this is the plan. Get your ass to Mars.
Now this is the plan.
Is that Total Recall?
Get your ass to Mars.
Yeah, dude, Total Recall. This next story is straight out of fucking Total Recall. Dude, a memory prosthesis could restore memory in people with damaged brains.
But is it called Neuralink?
What was the Total Recall? Recall thing. Recall Vacation. What was that called? And no, this is very different from Neuralink. It was called Total Recall. I mean, that's the thing. Take a vacation with yourself. Total Recall. It is. So it's different. So this is like, okay. So a group of researchers led by Rob Hampson at Wake Forest University School of Medicine in North Carolina has developed a memory prosthesis that uses deep stimulation to boost people's ability to remember new information.
What if you can't go deep?
As soon as you said deep stimulation too, I thought you were going to play that sound effect. You really missed it.
Jesus Christ, guys.
It doesn't matter. Nobody's listening now anyway. So.
The team inserted electrodes deep into the brain. where they mimic the activity of the hippocampus, a region that plays a key role in memory formation. The prosthesis copies the electrical patterns of activity that occur when the memories are formed and then uses the same patterns of activity to stimulate the brain. So the team tested 2 versions of the memory prosthesis on 24 people who had implanted electrodes to study their epilepsy, some of whom had brain injuries. One version of the prosthesis, called the memory decoding model, the MDM, mimics the electrical patterns of activity across the hippocampus that occur naturally when a person forms a memory. The MDM takes an average of these patterns across each individual and then fires off this pattern of electrical stimulation. So like when you create a new memory, so the memory of the sound of that smacking and groaning, this thing will basically fire off in the hippocampus these like electronic signals so that the core memory of that slapping noise and that groaning noise stays in the brain, as opposed to someone who has the inability to remember something. It's just like, it happens, you were there, you were present for it, but then, whatever, tomorrow, it's like, it's kind of slipped, it's gone away because the hippocampus wasn't firing the right way.
I hope
this thing is going in there.
Everybody listening is in that latter camp.
Nobody will remember, hopefully.
The second version, called the multi-input, multi-output, MIMO, more closely mimics how the hippocampus actually works. In a healthy hippocampus, electrical activity flows from one layer to another before spreading to other brain regions. The MIMO model is based on learning the patterns of electrical inputs and outputs that correspond with memory encoding and then mimicking them. So the volunteers underwent memory tests twice, once to record from the hippocampus and once to stimulate those recorded patterns associated with successfully stored memories. And in the tests, each person was shown an image on a computer screen. And after a delay, the same image was presented again, along with a selection of others. The person had to choose which was the image that had already been shown. Each volunteer completed around 100 to 150 of these short tasks, which are designated to test a person's short-term memory. Between 15 and 90 minutes later, each person underwent a second test, this time being shown a set of 3 images and asked to choose which one was most familiar. The test indicates a person's long-term memory. The team found that the memory prosthesis improved the volunteers' performance on memory tests. Their scores were significantly higher if they had received the correct pattern of stimulation when first presented with the images, and this suggests that the memory prosthesis can help encode memories in the brain. Now, this is all very cool, very neat, and it's like, okay, great. That sounds helpful for people who are, I'm sure it would be like great to help things with like Alzheimer's and they were talking about like epilepsy and seizures and stuff like that. But I'm wondering like how this could bring us one step closer to Total Recall. If you don't remember the story of Total Recall, it is about a guy who is living his life, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I can't really remember. I just remember Mars.
It's fucking incredible. It actually is like it's one of the best sci-fi movies still to date. It's fucking incredible.
They remade it with
horrible remake
with Colin Farrell, right?
Terrible remake. Anyway, so it's about this guy who's living his life. He has all these memories. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got a successful job, and there's this service that you can take vacations where you don't actually go anywhere. So you could go to, we've colonized other planets. You could go to Mars. You could have a vacation on Mars, but you don't actually have to go to Mars. You come in, you lay on a table, and we inject in your brain all the memories of the vacation that you went on Mars. And you can go with someone you know, like your wife, or you could go with someone you don't know who isn't your wife, if you know what I mean. And so
I get what you're saying.
And so he goes and he does this, but then all of a sudden, like he kind of fucking wigs out because all of a sudden he is now remembering who he actually was, and his wife and his job and all these things. They were all
while he's in the.
They were all set up. He's not actually this person. He actually is a fucking like a trained special agent. And he had these fake memories implanted in his brain. So then it's this whole mind fuckery of like, who is Arnold Schwarzenegger's character? What's he trying to do? And yada, yada. So anyway, that's Total Recall. So at what point is this getting us one step closer to like implanting memories in someone that they never actually fucking had? giving them like a backstory of a life that they never even had.
Yeah,
is it? Well, I was gonna say, is it the beginning to a sci-fi horror movie? But then that's.
I mean, it sounds like it could be.
I was
like
gonna
Blade
say,
Runner 2. Blade Runner was the same thing where all the in Blade Runner 2049, spoiler alert, Ryan Gosling, or sorry, not Ryan Gosling, but one of the characters has all these like memories. Actually, Ryan Gosling is one of them. Memories in his brain of a past time as a child, but those were never ever memories. He was just a fucking robot that was made like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But he has childhood memories and shit.
So also, like, could this potentially be like Severance, where you can turn off your brain and forget things while you're at work, and then become a different person,
right?
With different implanted memories,
yes,
while you're at work.
Because it sounds like a terribly dark service offered to people who are otherwise unhappy with their lives.
Yeah,
for whatever particular reason, whether whatever.
Yeah,
or
it's that the government could be like, we need to. Well, it's like Manchurian Candidate type shit where they're like,
that's like the sinister conspiracy theory. But that more to Severance, more to like the plot line of Severance.
Yeah.
But clearly there's a lot of sci-fi ties here, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is that we're just entering now
with
entering technology and like the capabilities of these types of things to do like really fucked up weird shit.
Yeah.
When do you think the utopia starts? And we all just get to
I feel like
I really do hope
next week.
I really do hope that's where we're headed.
Do you think we're there? Do you think like we're there?
No.
What do you mean we're there?
Like too far away from now? It's too far away for us, or we're close enough.
Oh, I think it's. I don't think it's the utopia. I think it's going to be the apocalypse. But
it's one of
I hope it's the utopia.
Yeah,
and if it's the utopia, you guys aren't there.
We're middle aged. We're middle aged.
So really, the apocalypse is the utopia.
Anybody who can't go deep enough won't be there either.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Speaking of, well, we didn't speak of anything, but do you guys want to go down a little rabbit hole with me?
Yeah.
I've been going down this really interesting rabbit hole. How do you guys feel about chiropractors?
The whole,
and just be careful what you say, because there's probably chiropractors that watch and listen to the show.
That's fine.
My understanding,
and we have a history of saying things about professions, and then we find out people listen to the show, and then we gotta sift through emails about how much they hate us now.
I'll tell you what I understand, and what I would like to be educated on is that, from my understanding, there's two arms of chiropractic practice.
You do need two arms to be a chiropractor. Yes.
There's sort of two like sects of it. Like there's and not sex, no. But like there is this like one, like what it originated from, which was not really rooted in medicine from my understanding. And then the second one, which sort of evolved to follow more of the scientific method, but sort of denounced some of the original hocus pocus sort of side of it. But there's like those two sides to it. Like that's my very, very basic understanding.
Right.
And I don't even know if that's true.
I've had like varying success with chiropractors over the years. I haven't seen a chiropractor for something in a very long time, but did as a kid.
Yeah, same.
And I think that the whole back cracking thing is fucking totally out to lunch. Like any chiropractor.
Like
that was
like this? Like, is this out to lunch? Oh. Well, that didn't work. I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to fix that. Can you get the mouse? Wait, where is that? I don't think I did.
Desktop. Yep. Long neck cracks. You can just click open on it. It
Okay, so we're gonna do the neck now. So we're just gonna bring you over here.
What do you think of this?
Ow.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Hold on, there's more.
No, I've had this done to me several times.
Yeah, listen to this one.
Great. Oh man, I think I can do that one.
Hold on, she got to get the other side. Oh God, it sounds like it rips.
Ta-da.
It looks kind of like it would be, it would feel relieving to have that happen, like once it was done, but to go through that really terrifies me.
I've had it done a ton, like a ton.
And
the
neck crack like that?
Yep, neck crack, back crack, where they put you in all these weird fetal sort of positions and crack you in. And no doubt, feels good.
Yeah.
Like it feels good for it to happen.
Now,
but I think its actual benefit, I don't think there's really much. But what I will say about chiropractors that I have appreciated in the past is the knowledge of how an injury in one place is like connected to the spine, and how the two are kind of speaking to each other, and how sort of in the same way that like an osteopath has like a very sort of like, there's a lot of things that osteopaths do.
Holistic. It's very holistic.
There's a lot of things that osteopaths do that I kind of think is hocus pocus as well. But then at the same time, there seems to be a very good, like really broad understanding of how a lot of the systems in the body are connected and work together.
Brady's going through RMT school right now. And when I talk to her about it, like, it's wild their education, what they're diving into.
But my, like, saying that, Taylor, and you said like, and you were saying chiropractors, which again, I feel like is a generalization, because I do think that I'm not sure if this is right, but I think there's the two sort of different sort of,
well, they all go to like
sides of it.
School of chiropractic,
but there's
chiropractic,
but there's also
chiropractic,
School of chiropractic.
Chiropractic school.
Chiropractic school.
School for chiropractors.
But again, like, and I have no
2023
idea.
chiropractic.
Come hacks.
I'm not sure if this is right or not, and I'd like to I'd like for somebody to write in and tell us more about this. But like my thought is that there is like the side of chiropractic school that thinks that cracking your back is basically the root of all problems in your body, and by having your neck and spine adjusted, you can make yourself better. And then I think there's the other side that doesn't believe.
But I've had chiropractors that have done awesome stuff, like work where, like I had a
But it depends on which side they're on.
I had a really bad hip. No, but I saw one chiropractor when I was like in my mid-teens for a shoulder thing, and then I also had a hip thing, and he did like really interesting like muscle relieving things, because he was like, well, this is going around your hip and it's attached to the back of your pelvis and like along with your vertebrae, and like that's causing this back pain and whatever. And he
was like, and I promise you with my finger up your ass that I will, just don't worry about it. It'll take care of it all.
But there was like some really like logical and like, and exercise based stuff, and like body work stuff that he did that was helpful. But then he also cracked my back. Like it was, he did both. Now, and every chiropractor I've always seen, it's kind of like they're always like, all right, let's get the fun part out of the way.
Yeah.
And they crack your back, and then they're kind of like, all right, now what's going on?
All right, now let's actually figure it out. This what do you think of this? A guy with a really long neck going to a chiropractor.
Today we were with the longest, most famous neck in the world. Damn long neck. What's going on, man?
Damn long neck is an Instagram.
Polish, living the dad life.
Jesus Christ. Turn your head to the left.
So
if people don't see this, he's chiseling the guy's neck. And now. Oh, God.
Whoa. You feel that?
That boy made my neck crack.
All right, let's do the other side.
I believe he's part of the Juggalo community. Okay. He's a big deal.
Second neck crack ever. Ready?
Hey, you can tell he's like, oh,
take a deep breath.
No, dude.
Blow it out.
Holy shit. Dude, that guy isn't just the long neck guy. He's the long everything guy. I've never seen a longer human being in my life.
Was he okay?
So he died after this. No, he's good. He's good. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to speak for him. He didn't look good, but he's still alive. So anyway, the whole point of me
It
bringing
looks
this
like
up,
a circus.
the whole point of me bringing this up is, I mean, I think he's a big juggalo.
No,
like-
not him. the whole thing, the whole performance.
Oh, yeah,
of it.
yeah. Well,
Not just because he doesn't look like he's a circus because he has
Right.
a long neck.
right, right. And I didn't think you said that. Right. That's not what I thought. Okay. So I've been going down this fucking rabbit hole of cracks and like chiropractic ASMR and like loud cracks. And then I came across the RingDinger. Do you guys know about the RingDinger?
No, but
No.
I feel like we're about to find out.
Oh, you're
I'm
about to find out.
Pretty
You're about
excited.
to find out. The RingDinger is a technique that, like, again, so like you guys are trying to talk about like how you don't really know about chiropractors. Like you feel like it's like one of two sort of lanes. I don't know for sure, but what I've gathered is I think the RingDinger was created by one chiropractor in the US right now. He's still alive. He's still practicing. He's got a fucking YouTube channel that's huge. He created the RingDinger from what I gathered. Now, the RingDinger isn't just a thing that he does. And like, I think it's become this thing that like tons of chiropractors are going, the fucking RingDinger. And you don't need anything to do the RingDinger other than a towel or a couple of towels.
And you can sign up. You can sign up to do the RingDinger, but you also then have to sign up other people underneath you.
Yeah.
And then you can go to these retreats.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if you
for the people who
do,
have done the most RingDingers.
if you are signing up to do the RingDinger, I guarantee you're also signing a waiver because the RingDinger is exactly how it sounds.
Dude, show me
It's
the
a
ring.
RingDinger.
Dude, show me the RingDinger.
What do you think the RingDinger does?
I think it cracks your whole body at the
Dude,
same time.
It fucking
Oh.
does. It fucking does, dude.
Oh, it's
So here's
it's
a
like
video.
a yeah, it's gonna be like a Pilates reformer that you're on, and it just
Oh, no.
rings your whole body.
No,
out.
dude. All you need is a towel. I could give you the RingDinger right now if you trusted me. This is it right here.
I don't trust you.
There we go.
God damn!
There we go.
Oh my god! Oh god!
You all right?
Yeah, that takes
Somebody
your breath away.
Just listen.
God!
Keep
Woo!
breathing. Keep breathing.
Oh, that takes your breath away.
Oh, it sure does.
Oh goodness. Oh boy.
out.
Oh my goodness, that takes your breath away. Oh, that's a
So
shock.
the RingDinger does take your breath
Did you
away.
feel that all crack?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. What's
Can you
a
explain to
shocker?
me
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
how that is safe and good for you?
Oh, that's a shocker.
I mean, she looks great. She looks like she's all right.
She looks like she had her breath taken away.
She might have.
Dude,
According to what
Does she look
said.
good? You think?
No, dude.
dude, no offense to
That's
any
the
fucking
RingDinger.
no offense to any chiropractors out there, but like that
That's so
dude, that is the same as that saying that is good for you is the same as somebody telling me to charge my fucking crystals at the new moon.
or to
That's what that
or to
is.
tip your landlord.
But this is
Exactly, yeah.
this is the thing
Yes.
about like the two lanes of chiropractic medicine that I think is like that is insane. But like I don't doubt that there's really great chiropractors out there doing good work. Like that is insane,
Oh my god.
That takes your breath away.
Dude, what? How much
Yeah,
of a fine
that
line
takes
do
your
you
breath
think
away.
that they're dancing? Like, dude, that is a fucking coin flip for manslaughter every time.
Dude, that thing, I've seen that in every MacGruber film. That's a Steven Seagal fucking move right there. That's the finisher.
If they die, then he rips her throat out.
Yeah, that's the Steven Seagal finisher right there.
Isn't that how you kill people though? Like you just
Yeah,
I mean,
that
every
is,
movie
yeah.
I've seen where someone's neck is
neck
broken,
crack?
it's
Yeah.
just they're getting ring-dingered.
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
I mean, if you saw that, if John Wick did that to somebody, you would go, "Oh, he just killed them."
I would have been like, sweet use of the ring-dinger in that
Right.
choreography that they.
And
they put in the movie.
I am fully open.
To being shut down here
to-
and shut up by a chiropractor.
totally.
Yeah, sure. I would be open to hearing a chiropractor shut us up and say, no, the ring-dinger is actually like all hail the ring-dinger.
Not necessarily the ring-dinger, but like just like regular neck
specifically
cracking and shit.
no. For me, it's specifically ring-dinger. I want someone to be like, no, the ring-dinger is good. it takes your breath away.
I mean, that would be special.
But then I want someone who's not a chiropractor, but some other sort of body sciences. How about a spinal surgeon to go? The RingDinger
definitely not.
is sick.
Oh, right. You want
if a spinal surgeon said that to me, I would go, I'm going to get a RingDinger.
If somebody who knew way more about this came to me and told me like, here are the scientific reasons of why this is good, and I had to believe them because they presented good scientific evidence about that, I would still not do it.
Yeah, well,
that's how I feel about the RingDinger.
Yeah, sure. Probably because it's called the RingDinger,
right?
Because if anybody's saying the RingDinger is legit, you got to change the name from RingDinger to legit neck, not killing someone neck crack.
Yep.
Or something.
Yeah. It's got to be very explicit.
I mean, the branding of that is not as good, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
It does take your breath away, though. That's for sure. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, that was what the hell.
Dude,
no kidding.
Yeah. What the health with that is up with that?
Hope you enjoyed the episode. We love each and every one of you. Thanks for tuning in. And listen, let someone know that you listen to the podcast. Send them a little link to listen. We'd love to get.
Unless they're chiropractors, don't send them this episode.
Not unless you're covered. But we do appreciate your support, and we appreciate the folks that have left a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, or just leave a little rating on the Spotify mobile app. And if you want to join our Discord link is in most of the show notes. So just go on over there, pop on in, and you can join the ever-growing community of sickos that listen to the podcast and help us produce the podcast and have really interesting chats and post pictures of their bloody, shitty underwear. When that's a specialty. You got to go digging for that one.
Yep. Yeah. And well, along with the Discord group, you could also send things to our Instagram.
Yeah.
So DM us.
If you're middle-aged like us and use Instagram, then
set it in there.
You can.
I'm just gonna sit down here and shoot some DMs.
Can't remember what our snap is, but and if you want to be a guest on the show, go to sickboypodcast.com and click on Brian's favorite button.
It's really sad is somebody recently applied to be on the show and said the button didn't feel that good to click.
The reason why, Brian, is because I don't think people understand. Like, I think you set it up so that people thought that when you press the button, something's going to happen. But it's just the button has like a depth and like a visual weight to it when you press it. I think you need to add a GIF that pops up after you've pressed it of like someone, like someone's face making cum faces.
You know what? The issue, Brian, is that the average person can't smell and taste CSS like you can.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. Well, I don't want to thank you guys for helping me put this show together, but I will thank Jeff Lonis and Rich O'Coin because I really do like them. Thanks to those guys for being great.
All right, well, that's it for this week.
I'm Brian.
I'm Taylor.
And I'm Jeremy, and this is Sick Boy.